record piece, and I feel like lights, camera, action here. Dogbe, man, a great afternoon and a very happy Sunday to you, man. What's going on, brother?
Hey man, I'm good. Now that I'm here talking with you, I'm fabulous, man. How you doing?
Bro, it's all good. I'm super excited. So for me, a hometown hero for sure. One of these guys I go back a long ways. But for somebody watching right now, we're live on twitch.tv/Fendler, or for the couple dozen folks that'll catch us on YouTube later. My man, Mr. Michael Dogbe is number 91 in your programs, 91 in your programs, number 1 in your hearts, playing defensive line for the Arizona Cardinals. A big daddy-o, man. What are your dimensions these days, bro? How big are you actually now?
Right now, I put up about 20 pounds during the off season, so I'm about 300 pounds, about 6'3" and a half. So,
oh my goodness
put
gracious.
on just a little bit more size, but I'm feeling great.
20 pounds is going to make a difference. 20 pounds is going to make a difference for you.
Yeah, it's going into year 3, finally fully adjusted. So going against them heavy double teams, man, you got to have some weight.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Man, I can't wait to hear about that. I want to ask about like your progression, like the things that you're learning in the league. But like, I feel like, I'm super excited to have you on, and there's so much I want to go over. Our very first experience together, I suppose, we came up through the same high school. That's what I know. You can't see me. This feels weird. I'm wearing Arizona Cardinals red right now in our school. Okay, I don't have that many red clothes. The Par Hills are rival for quite a while, being crosstown Parsippany High. Yep. The Red Hawks. I don't have a whole lot of red clothes because between playing and then also coaching the young guns afterwards, I couldn't wear it all too much. But Dogbe, bro, in your honor, here I am sitting here in red, feeling silly.
I love it. And I was the same way, man. Going to Temple, man, it was weird putting on that red, man. Wearing that, sky blue for the longest time.
Oh man,
going over to Temple, man, it was just a different feeling for me. So, I appreciate you supporting the Cards right now.
Oh, of course, man. My jersey is on the way. I ordered your jersey at the same time as I got to support our man Evans. That was dope to have him, the Titans running back, on the channel the other day. But I got my jerseys are on the way. But I figured for now, as best I can, I'll rock the red. So bro, very first memory of you, and I don't know if we've ever like really had occasion to talk about this one-on-one. I guess we haven't, but I'm at UAlbany at the time. I was a couple years into playing football up there, and I get a message, and I debated like putting it up on the stream, but I was like, you know what, bro? Like, I don't know. That's like something I'm just gonna kind of like keep like close to me, like close to my heart. And it was a message from 2012, that from your same profile. So it's strange, like, going all the way back through these messages and looking at your picture of on an NFL field, and kind of going back over and reading some of the things. My very first impression of you was a message, in more words, just basically like, what do I need to do to take this stuff to the next level and like really do the thing? And I'm glad I answered like as best I can and as honestly as I could, of course, because now I get this story about how I was, talking to an NFL player so early on. But I was like, in my mind, in the back of my mind, I was like, who the heck is this kid, bro? And what does he have? What is his business working so hard from so early? So I say that for you because I know you're a very humble man and you won't say it for yourself, but your work ethic started so early. I'm wondering if you can reflect on that. Do you remember a time, or was there an experience, or really even just like a period of your life where you kind of, what you wanted was starting to come into focus and like you kind of knew you had to turn it up? Because these messages are remarkable, bro. It's a different level of work ethic, and I'm curious like where it kind of like started for you.
Honestly, man, it's just I fell in love with the game. I started playing in the 5th grade, and I fell in love with the game, but I wasn't the best at it. I loved watching it. I would look up old players such as like Lawrence Taylor and just see the way he played. Growing up a Giants fan in Jersey, man, I loved the way he played, and I just wanted to be great. I had a dire need to just be great. And funny enough, I don't actually watch you and your teammates up at the high school, playing for Albano.
Yeah.
And man, your culture, man, what you guys brought to the field, man, I loved it, man. You guys like Moose, like I was like, one day I want to be like those guys. I didn't know you guys as much. I know you guys came into I want to say middle school, elementary school to talk to us
You
about
remember
just
that?
playing
Wow,
for the
bro,
Hills,
I got
man.
the chills right now. This is super dope.
You guys walked in real big and everything. I was like, man, I like, if anything, I just want to be a great high school player like those guys. But again, I wasn't the best player, but I just, for some reason, I always pushed myself to the limit to work hard and just do anything I could to become a good football player. I know going into high school, man, I wasn't the biggest. That's my dog right there. But
Good boy.
I wasn't the biggest, man. I was like 155 pounds, and I knew
remember.
that if I wanted to take this thing serious, man, I got to get in the weight room. I got to dedicate my high school years to being great. So I think that's right around the time I hit you up.
Yeah.
Because I saw like, man, you're one of the few that made it out. Made it to a D1 school, and you're playing at a great school. And I was like, man, if that's my goal, if that's what I want for myself, man, I got to get advice from the best. So I'm hitting you up, man.
Dude, and it's an honor. It's an honor, to be able for me to, say that now that I had any interaction with you on this path that you took to greatness at all, bro. But I think that's also a credit to you. I love that in your Twitter bio, for example, that you still have Parsippany Hills tagged. You know what I mean? Because I felt the same way about like our culture, of our town. I'm sure you've been exposed to football from all different types of places now, but I feel like we were lucky for that, right? Like I feel like we had a pretty good like high school culture around us. I mean, and again, more stuff that I'll say for you, so you don't have to. Dogbe will also continue. He's comes back around the Little Vikings, the youth program, consistently. Literally, whenever he's in town, I could speak to it firsthand because I've been at the practices where he comes in, and of course, you're a celebrity to these young men. But it's cool to learn that the culture around us had something to do with it, because I've experienced it the same way. It was I thought we were lucky for that.
Oh yeah, man, it felt like a family, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like you look at the guys ahead of you, and you just wanted to follow in their footsteps. And having a great coach like Albano, Coach Tarlo,
legend.
Having those guys around, man, that like you just want to play for them. And again, I looked up to you guys a lot, man. You guys played a big part in me just wanting to be great, honestly. And I don't know if you know this, but I think Mrs. Pychuk, if I can remember her name, she used to take photos of your games. Yeah. And I would go on the Parsippany Hills football website and just look at pictures, man, and just like, man, like I can't wait for that moment. And it just became an obsession for me just to be a great football player, man. I would dream about it, and I would just do anything I could. And again, not being the best amongst my teammates, I was like, man, I got to do whatever it takes, to get on that field. And, I was able to lean on that going into high school and ultimately play on varsity and have a good career.
I mean, I'm sitting here shaking my head because it's so remarkable. Like, and this is like, I think the chat and the folks watching us sit down together here are probably starting to get a feel for why I was so excited to bring you on, because this was not the path that you've walked and the situation that you find yourself in now. Like, I think it's fair to say that it was truly by a sheer force of will. Like you made a decision so early, and I know there's coaches in the chat right now that will spend time in here that are probably sitting there just the same as me, just shaking their heads. I mean, I'm telling you guys. So this was 2012. So what would this have been? Your sophomore year, like really the first time that you touched a weight room, and the differentiating factor being the fact that it was my dear friend of mine, Kyle, I think might have been the one like, Fend is at Albany, like maybe you should reach out and hit him up. And, from such an early age, working as hard as you did. And I think it's so good for people, young men, older people in general, regardless of demographic, to hear from a success story in the form of someone who did it by force of will. Somebody looks at you now and it's like, it would be so easy for somebody to be like, yeah, this guy's a genetic freak of nature. You know, he's this, that, and the other thing, to discredit some of the reality, and which is you have worked far harder than your genetics have. And I think it's a really positive thing for people to see that rewarded, just that like sheer force of will rewarded, bro. That's part of the reason that it's, you know, an honor to get on and spend some time with you here. So we had a great high school culture. When did you first start getting looks as far as like, you know, attention from the next level? Like when in high school did that happen for you?
So for my freshman year, I know you know Coach Dan Olson.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was a kid on the team where, you know, I wasn't a starter, but I was that next rotational guy in. Mm-hmm. So, you know, whether it was linebacker, nose, defensive end, he'll throw me in there, played a bunch of special teams. But I was like, man, that's not going to cut it. You know, I want to be on the field next year playing varsity. So after the season, you know, we handed our equipment, walked into Coach Olson's office, and I was like, listen, I have a goal of being a great varsity player here for this program. Yeah. What can I do to get on the field? And he said, live in the weight room. So after my freshman season, every single day, I think it was to the point where I was in there every single day, first guy in, last guy out. Yep. To the point where like Coach Tarlow was like, listen, like I got to lock up, like you got to go. But I was just so dedicated. So I grew from 155 pounds starting my freshman year, the freshman season, getting ready for my sophomore year. I was about 205.
Holy cow. You're talking like about a 50-pound weight gain. So you did exactly that. You locked yourself in the weight room, and I got to imagine you must have been eating your mom out of house and home. I mean,
oh man, it was I would make pots of pasta, eat that after a lift, PB&Js, milk, all that stuff.
Right.
So I grew to be about 205, and you know, I went through my sophomore year and I made varsity. I was able to play some special teams. You know, coach would throw me in there. We had a big lead. Sure. But I was like, man, this is still not where I want to be. So getting ready for my junior year, Albana was like, listen, like you're gonna be a great player for me, and I think you can go far. So that's when like Rutgers and Temple and UConn, they all start trickling in. They're like, listen, we got a kid. And, you know, he grew to be, you know, about 205, 210. Yeah. He's a big dude. So they just wanted to see what I can do. So I was invited to a bunch of camps. I think it was like getting ready for my junior year. So that sophomore year, you know, going into the summer, I was invited to a bunch of camps. Okay. And, you know, I did decently well. But again, you know, a lot of kids were more far advanced because I was still, you know, learning how to like use my body, man. It was like a whole new thing, putting on 50 pounds and everything. So sure, yeah. Rutgers and all those schools came in and they stayed on top of me for the most part. And what they wanted to know was how I was going to perform my junior year. And going into my junior year, you know, I think I was about like 215. I grew to be. And I had a great year. I had about like 9 sacks, you know, 50-something tackles, and I was killing it. So from there, that's when I started getting all the offers and stuff. And now we're talking. I think Matt Rule, the coach for the Carolina Panthers right now, he was at Temple at the time, and I fell in love with their culture just because it was similar to Parsippany Hills. Interesting. And though I had like Rutgers and all those schools, you know, ultimately falling in and offering me, Coach Rule stuck out to me and the culture he had at Temple and what they were trying to do there. Because when I came to the Hills, man, we were 2-10, right? I believe, and it was a down year, and we ultimately turned that 2-10 team to a championship team. Yeah. And when Coach Rule recruited me, they were 2-10 as well. And the way he was talking was similar to like how Albana brought us up. So
bro, this is very interesting, bro. I did not put it like 2 and 2 together that Matt Rule would have been a part of your origin story here as well.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm a big guy, like, obviously the big prestigious schools, like you're gonna, they're always gonna have like their flashes and stuff. You're gonna be
Sure.
impressed with all the glam. But for me, man, I was like, where can I go and be successful? And I knew that if I can be as successful in high school due to the culture, the coaching, if I can go somewhere similar,
Mm-hmm.
I know I can, excel. So Coach Rule, he showed me that, and ultimately I committed there before my senior year, and that kind of really brought the stress down of figuring out what school I was going to go to and
Sure, that's
recruiting and all
huge.
that.
Right.
And I was able to play, man, and I was really able to set my final goals in high school. And I was like, man, I'm gonna set the sack record. I'm gonna help lead the team to a championship. I'm gonna do all these great things.
Yeah.
And I was able to get 22 sacks, breaking the sack record, and we
Nuts.
were able to go. We were able to go to the championship, but we had lost to, I think it was Summit.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, man, coming in as a freshman, man, really setting those goals and just being determined, ultimately allowed me to have all that success in high school and to carry over to college.
That's such a beautiful thing. And I also didn't know that you were actually committed pre-senior year. So that must have been a huge weight off your chest. So you could kind of like focus on the game and like really what you were doing, rather than have to, because the recruiting stuff like it turns into like a game, like you wind up getting pulled out of class a lot. So that must have started, I guess, for you junior year. Would they because the way they did it for me, they would they'd ring the classroom and you'd get called down to like the E-wing, you'd sit in coach's office or whatever and chop it up with like whatever regional coach. That's how I met the guy at UAlbany who recruited me, Bill Bannigan, the defensive line coach up there. I'm sure UAlbany probably hit you up as well, but they would like call us out of class. Is that how they did it for you when they first started recruiting?
Yeah, it was crazy. A lot of my guys, man, they would get on me because they kind of thought I was a celebrity, man. And a couple schools that stayed pretty consistent was, so during the time I was getting recruited, it was the sanctions with Penn State.
Okay,
so they were trying to get a bunch of kids to come to their school, so they came in pretty consistently.
Okay.
It was just that they were offering walk-on spots at the time.
I see.
So I had a good relationship with them, but again, I was looking more for a scholarship.
Yeah.
Then Matt Rule and Ed Foley and Mike Sarabo from Temple, and they were at school like every week, pulling me out of class.
Dope.
So that's, again, the relationship was building real early with them. And then Rutgers and UConn, they would come in consistently, but it just turned into like schools every day, maybe 2 or 3 times a day, and it was all new to me, man. I was like, this is awesome. This is the dream right now.
Yeah.
But it started to get a little overwhelming, to the point where like, man, I just want to get this process over with. So committing before my junior year, I was like, man, this is the best thing. I can focus on my senior year.
Yeah, bro, just to put that behind you, because it was like I had a true fraction of the attention that you had, and I still remember it kind of the same way. Like, it's like an ego trip, and like your boys like never in class anymore. Like, yeah, I got to talk to coach from wherever, coming to see me. I got to talk to him. So it's dope, of course, especially as a young man, where you're still trying to get a grip on your ego, but it's distracting as well. You know what I mean? So I'm sure that, that probably contributed, to some part of the success you had senior year. So one of the other ththings I wanted to ask you about is kind of like your experience as we're, changing, between levels of football here. So now we're kind of like you had a great relationship with everyone that was recruiting you from Temple. So you wind up committing. You have an incredible senior season, set the school record for sacks at 22. You got a full head of steam. So what was your experience now upon getting to Temple? Because I remember my first couple days at Division I AA ball in Albany, it being shocking to the system and humbling and a lot. And I'll never forget it. And I'm sure even to a higher degree, a guy like you playing at even a higher level. Do you remember like the first like couple days or like the first like feelings that you had about football at the D1A level?
Oh man, it's definitely a shock to the system, man. It's I remember our first day there. it's all the freshmen, and we have position drills, and
Mm-hmm.
right after that they have us go through a conditioning test to see how in shape we are, and we had
Mean.
16 110s, so that's
Brutal.
full length of the field. A lot of us, we're used to high school conditioning. It's pretty hard, but it's nothing like after you exhaust yourself through position drills and you
It's
get on the
totally
line and you
different.
got
Especially that
16
one, that conditioning
Oh
drill,
man.
that conditioning test, because we did the exact same one. They scaled it. I think it was 90 for the bigs, 100 for the mids, and the whole length for the skills, something like this. But I remember it. So, and this was like one of your first days then?
First day there,
Oh my
and I'm
gosh.
telling you, guys are
Falling out.
bending over,
Yep.
falling out, throwing up, and it's like, man, like this is like I thought I was in great shape. I've been training hard, getting ready for college. I'm like, man, this is gonna be
Something
quite the
different.
challenge.
Yeah.
But it was just different. Like, from the playbook, to go into classes, everything was just so different. And at the
Mhm.
same time, man, when you get to college, every year they bring just about the best recruits they can for your position. So
Competition
you have
nonstop.
to
You have to keep working.
have to keep working, have to stay on your toes because, man, someone's trying to get your spot.
Yeah.
It's nothing's guaranteed. All that hyping you up during the recruiting process, that all ends. You got to now reestablish yourself and prove yourself. So for me,
Factual.
coming in as a young guy, I was a big dude, but I was raw. I needed to learn the game a lot more. So for me, it was getting in my playbook and making sure that I can get myself in shape because we had camp in about, I think, 2 months prior to coming in.
Right.
So yeah, man, it was different.
How big did you
I
come
was
into freshman year of college? Because I think when you last updated us, you were like after junior year, you said like 220 ish, but you packed on some more poundage, right? Where were you coming in freshman year? Do you remember, like, roundabout?
So I finished my senior year at 240, and then
40.
I
Okay.
went off the train, and I got up to like 245, 250. So I came in as a big freshman, and they had me at defensive end because in high school, my junior year, when they recruited me and offered me, I was outside linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
And in our system, I kind of played the edge a little bit. If anything, dropped to the flat.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, came in as a defensive end, and I did decently well. But again, college, everybody's advanced. You're going
Right.
against a senior offensive left tackle. Like, you got to have a little more game to you.
Right.
So
For
I was raw, and for me being such a big, strong guy, they were like, man, like, if we can use his speed inside, like, I think that can be his gig. Like, he can be a great D tackle.
Yeah.
So I played about 4 games my freshman year, and that was like a huge accomplishment for me. For me to
At
get on
Temple
the
at a
field
1A level, that's nuts. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So I was, our first game, my first ever college game was against Vanderbilt,
Mm-hmm.
and I was, scared out of my mind. But it was just the feeling of being on the field, the Thursday night game.
Yeah.
It was exciting for me.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I redshirted, and they gave me the talk. They're like, listen, we want to move you inside to play D tackle. So for the next 4 years, man, it was a struggle putting on weight because I left college about 288, 285. So I
Goodness
had to
gracious.
pack on all that weight, man, and it was a struggle, man. I'm talking about weigh-ins, I'm throwing up, like,
Jesus.
it was a struggle, man. So
And for the chat, like, this is what I was referencing when I, talked earlier in the interview about, like, you could look at a big mass of a man like Mr. Dogbe and be like, oh, he must be a genetic freak. Like, it must be so easy for him. And again, just a reminder of, like, one of the many reasons, like, this is, hearing from somebody like you is important. It wasn't easy. You worked your ass off to be this big, bro.
it's like, even just looking back at it now, man, it's a journey. Like,
That's
for
so
me,
nice.
I'm a hard gainer just because I'm a lean guy.
Right.
If I never worked out, maybe I'd be about 200 pounds, if
Right.
that. But for me, man, they don't care about excuses. They're gonna give you a goal weight. They're gonna give you goals in the weight room, and
Mm-hmm.
they need you to meet it because that's the best way you can help the team.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to get on the field, they're like, man, you got to be at least 270, and that's still like. But for me, I was like, man, like I really want this bad. I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
So it'll be nights in the cafeteria. I just get a bunch of like, and you know, it was college, so I would get pizza, whatever I can get my hands on, and just stuff
eating.
my face.
Goodness
Just eat.
gracious.
You know, just eat. So I'm in the cafeteria till like 10 at night, just eating. You know, and I was able to get on the weight. You know, not as easy, but I was able to finally get on the weight, and I noticed my play would just get better and better.
The heavier you got, because it also, I mean, this quest to get bigger comes along with the quest to get stronger, and I mean, you also a self-made, weight room freak. You turned into a weight room monster. I mean, you said from early on, our first conversations were about. I had torn my ACL, and one of the, like, you were like, what can I do? In our message, you were like, what can I do, like, after I'm done with the lift? Because, like, I need more. Like, even as a young gun, you're like, I need more of it. And they had given me this wild, like, German volume training 10 by 10, like, bench workout that, I told you about, and, like, you went back to a couple times. You were doing it after, like, full workouts in the weight room anyway. But so during college, I mean, this quest to get bigger comes with the quest to get stronger. When do you feel like you really hit your stride as a strength training athlete?
For me, I think I would say it would be my freshman sophomore year, so technically my junior year, my third year.
So 1 year into like a D1 program with the strength coach that's really locked in on you, plus the diet, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, so the diet, the strength coach. So I had about 2 strength coaches in college, which was pretty good on my part, just because I had different ways of lifting. We did a lot of bench and squats with one coach, and then another coach introduced me to Olympic lifting. So I was able to get explosive as much as I got big. So for me, I think by the time I left Temple, I maxed out bench 505, squat was like 750. So like I was able to like really max out my full potential, having 2 great strength coaches. And again, like it was never like this for me, because I remember my first time ever in a weight room. I can barely bench the bar with 5s on each side. Like, it was like I was struggling, just because like my body never lifted before. So, to see where I'm at now and the journey it took, man.
Bro, and I mean, sorry, you were cutting out for just a second. I think we're good now. Are we good now? You were cutting out for a second.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so. One of your many accomplishments at Temple was, hopefully he's still good. Wi-Fi be messing up in Discord also. So there you go, handsome man. Part of Temple culture that I learned about because of you and your accomplishments is the bestowment of single digits and what that means for your roster spot at Temple. When did you get on the short list to get a single digit number? Like, how did that wind up looking for you?
So, a quick backstory. So, a recruiting visit on a Temple, my official visit. Saw number 9 in the locker room, and we were able to like try on the jerseys and stuff. And they were just giving the backstory about like the whole single digit tradition. And Muhammad Wilkerson at the time, or a couple of years ago, wore 9, and they're like, we're not allowed to just be the toughest guys on the team. Number 9 goes to that. So I said, put me in contact with Muhammad Wilkerson. I think I hit him up on Twitter, and I was like, I'm just committed to Temple, and you're such a great player for that. Player for that program. I look to follow in your footsteps, and I'm gonna wear number 9. And he's probably like looking at like this kid. He's in NFL. He's big time. This kid's hit me up. Whatever. So I get to Temple. like whatever.
Shoot, this is a good one. Hold on, Dogbe. I'm gonna try. I gotta
That
try
was
to
gonna
call you
be
back. I want to. This
something
is
I
too
did.
good. Hold on. I gotta try to call him back. Because here, I gotta try to have him end the call in. Because that's a good ass fucking story, and I want to make sure we hear all of it. I asked him about only, basically, he's going to tell you the details, but basically only the baddest mother fathers get access to single digits at Temple. I know Wi-Fi does not want us to be great. Hold on one sec. I'm going to try to call him back here. Yeah. Let's try this one more time. Dogbe, sorry, brother. The Wi-Fi was getting a little bit chunky. I wanted to see if we could get a better connection because this was too good. I was like missing a little bit of the story, and I don't want to miss the single digit stuff is good stuff. Okay, there he is. I think we back. Are we back? Let me get a mic check 1 2 1 2, brother. See how that's sounding.
Yeah, I think we're good.
I think we're good too. Okay, yeah, I think your audio is crispy there. Okay, so I heard that
Perfect.
On the visit you tried on the number 9, so you were already like kind of materializing it in your head and hit up Muhammad Wilkerson, who was the last number 9, and just kind of like off the cuff were like, I'm gonna wear number 9. That's the last bit I heard before the internet decided we can't be great.
Yes. So he took a message from, some high school kid talking about he's going to wear number 9. And, he's encouraging me. He's like, man, go for it. It's going to be a great accomplishment for you. And, when I get to Temple, I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to wear that number. Like, you gotta really work, man. You gotta be the toughest guy in all the workouts on the.
All eyes are on you.
Have to know you as a tough dude. So for me, all eyes are on you. Everybody, because it's your teammates vote for you. It's not the coaches, because the coaches, they can be a little biased. Who they give it to. So the teammates, they vote for who's going to get the numbers, and everybody wants one. So they're like, we're going to be fair, have your teams vote. So for me, when I got there, guys like, I don't know if you know Maaannn, who's with the Washington right now, and Jacob Martin, who's with Houston. So those two guys, they came in before me. They both were. So I was like, man, like I only got about like a year to get this number, man. And like because everybody, I was already a tough dude, but those guys were already established, so they had dibs on it. But for me, going into my senior year, man, I was like, I have to get that number. So I wasn't really a vocal guy, but I became a leader. And it wasn't like, the little fake hoorah, try to get everybody to, work out or whatever. It was like some real leadership I feel like I developed, and, when it came to workouts, man, I'm killing, busting my ass, trying to be first in all the sprints, I'm just doing things, to show that, listen, like I deserve that number. And, everybody felt like I deserved it. And it was, it's the icing on the cake for my senior year. But it's just like back to who I am, and like with goal setting, like I would always write my goals down, man. And I'd always find a way to get them done. And that's what I always tell people, like, write your goals down. Because that was, 4 years before I ever wore the number. I had no idea what it was going to take. But the fact that I wrote it down and I remember that goal from the start, I wasn't going to let myself down. I hold myself accountable to everything. So that was just the icing on the cake, wearing that number my senior year.
That's, oh my God, bro. That's nuts. I think remarkable that it kind of, you saw it coming in some way, you know what I mean? And then just manifested it for yourself. So now we're up at your senior year of Temple. You've, defied all odds. You've put your body to the test. You're pushing the limits of, what you can become now. You've earned a single digit at Temple. And, the sky seems like the limit. Now we're starting to consider, I imagine, what comes after. to your collegiate career, what happens after you graduate, and your options that come after that. I want to hear about your experience with the draft itself, right? I want to get to that also, but like leading up to it, I'm sure with how fucking hard you've worked and everything that you've put together, that I know the vision has got to be more clear now than it ever had been before. But what was like the first chatter? Like, what were the first like rumblings that it's like, I might actually be able to make a job of this and continue to play next year? Did you have an idea of that before senior year? Did you have to put together the really successful senior year to get the eyeballs? Like, when did this like kind of like start for you, the attention from the NFL? Shoot, did we lag out again, bro?
So my
Shoot, I'm sorry, bro. I don't think it's on my end. Internet's like looking like chunky.
Hello?
Dogbe, I think I got you. Now I can hear you, yeah. You know what? I think, let me try, let's try just I'm going to put up a photo of you. Try to just do a audio call to see if that is better for us. Just so, because I want to hear you talk. I don't like the internet keeps interrupting you. So I'm going to try ending this one. Let's just do the voice call without your camera to see if that works any better. Hopefully he heard me.
Oh.
Here, let's try. All right, so we'll try just the audio here. Bang, voice call. I think this will be the one here. Dogbe, my man, we're gonna beat this thing. Let me get a mic check 1 2. How you feeling, brother?
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I sure can. Okay, that sounds much clearer. Okay, now, without the internet interrupting you, hold on, I gotta make the Russ Wilson sack picture a little bit bigger here. Okay, now, before we were so rudely interrupted, the question I had asked, because I'm sure I got cut off in there also, the question I asked was kind of the first rumblings of NFL attention. I know the vision has been, clear for many years, but when did it like start to become more of a reality in your experience with the thing?
So my redshirt sophomore year, I had a really year. It's kind of when I established myself as a player, put myself on the map, and I had a bunch of agents pick me up, and coaches told me, listen, like you have potential, and teams are aware of who you are. So I'm feeling good, and you could potentially leave early.
Yeah.
As a junior. So going into my redshirt junior year, right before we played Notre Dame for the season opener, I get hurt. I have a quad injury right before Notre Dame, and I'm in pain. Like, I'm upset. Like, Notre Dame, great game to really show yourself, and I just remember just being so disappointed, before the first game. But it wasn't until we got to Notre Dame, and I realized like I could play. We needed an extra D lineman, so I was like, listen, like, I'll do whatever. I took a tortal shot, and I just fought through the pain, and really didn't play my best. Just because I was in pain, but just to be on the field, man, I was happy.
Right, eyeballs. If you're on the field, you got eyeballs, which is good.
I fully recovered that. Yeah, I fully recovered after that. But then when we played UConn, I sprained my MCL. So my junior year is not going the way I wanted it to go. A year filled with injuries. So I really didn't get back, for that season until the bowl game. And by then, I really don't have much film. So not many people are, looking at me anymore. injuries, what happened to Michael. So going into my senior year, just, talking with my girlfriend and, really renewing my faith with God, I was able to, just build up the courage again and the strength again to really just chase my dream. And I was all in. I'll be in the weight room like 3 times a day. I was doing yoga. I was working on my body to make sure I was in the best shape of my life.
You doubled and tripled down on this whole thing.
Oh man, I treated myself like a professional before I even got to the league.
That's good.
So
shit.
when I started my senior year, man, I was killing it. Especially going into, I think, game 4 against Maryland, I had about like 3.5 sacks.
Yeah.
I was killing it, man. And I was like, okay, I can really do this thing. I can really pull this thing off. So, after that season, my senior year, I got all the accolades and I was invited to the East-West Shrine game. And a lot of players, from all over the country, they go there. And I was able to dominate. I was able to really show myself. And, there I was able to talk to a bunch of GMs and scouts and stuff like that. And, they all knew who I was and they were really excited about the type of player I was.
Dope.
So, I didn't get invited to the combine because of my junior year. I really didn't have much film. So it was like kind of like a late thing. So a bunch of teams flew me out to have, structural interviews. So I remember the first team I went to was Atlanta, and then I went to the Jaguars, and then I took a trip up to both the Giants and the Jets.
Cool.
Talk with the Eagles. So just a bunch of teams, talk with the Chiefs. So I'm like, man, there's a chance I can really get drafted.
Yeah.
And the whole time, man, my anxiety is going crazy. The nerves are going wild.
Bro, I can only imagine, and I want to hear, on that note of, the anxiety and the nerves, if you could, take us through, kind of the moment. So a 7th round pick, right? I mean, I gotta imagine if I'm you, it's like, are we doing this or not? What are your feelings now getting into the last round of the draft? Did you see it coming a mile out? Did you know that you were indeed going to be a draft selection, or was it where I can't imagine you were surprised, but I mean, you tell me, what were you feeling about it?
So talking with my agent and a bunch of teams, a lot of teams had me as a day 3 guy, but they were saying, 4th, 5th round.
Okay.
But the thing about it is, they called my year the year of the D lineman. I don't know if you remember that year, 2019. You had guys like Ed Oliver, just a bunch of D tackles taken within the first round.
For sure. Right, yeah.
Big names. So everybody got their star D tackle within the first round. Mm-hmm. So the next time they all got to get a D lineman isn't going to be until the later rounds.
Right.
So when you're a day 3 guy, when you're considered a day 3 guy, it's not about how talented you are. It's about the need of the team and who they're willing to develop. You know what I mean? When you go first round, they're expecting you to come in right away and play. Right. When you're day 3 guy, it's okay, really it's the need of the team. Where do we need to fill our roster? So for me, man, 4th, 5th, 6th round are passing. I'm like, man, I'm calling my agent, what's going on? What are teams saying? And every team was like, man, if he's there, we're gonna grab him. Tell him hang in there. We're looking to get him. So the Cardinals end up calling me during the 6th round, and I'm going back and forth with one of the area scouts who was plugged in with the the draft room, and he knew what the GM was talking about, and they loved me. Right. And they already had drafted a D end in the 3rd round, the top of the 3rd round. So they were like, listen, if we go with a D tackle, it's going to be you. So just hang in there. So I'm already talking to some teams as going as an undrafted guy. I know, if I wasn't going to go to the Cardinals, I know I was probably going to stay in Philly and be with the Eagles, or I think I was talking with the Chiefs a good amount.
So you're trying, you're thinking about the next move, I guess hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst, I suppose. Yep. But did not indeed wind up in undrafted. So, it's coming down to the wire. You're feeling anxious. What happens next, bro? I'm at the fucking edge of my seat.
So I get the call, and Steve Keim on the phone, the general manager for the Cardinals, and he's like in his deep voice, he's like, yeah, is this Michael? I'm like, heck yeah, this is Michael. Like I've been
Sure
number
is.
one this whole time. So I don't know if you ever heard the draft call. I know it was like a big thing they posted. I was crying. Like I was like, man, like I finally got the call, and
My goodness.
he was just like, you want to be a Cardinal, and obviously I said yes, and told me they're gonna select me, and my family, my friends are going crazy, and it was just a surreal moment that
So
knowing that I
unbelievable.
just got a foot in the door. That's all I needed was opportunity, because I knew, like, as long as I get an opportunity, I can compete, I'll have a chance.
And now, even as a day 3 guy, as you put, 7th round selection, you were making plans to have to do other things. To the fact that you are now in your 3rd year in this same program, bro. I mean, you beat the bejesus out of the odds again, because I'm sure infinitely better than I do, but even from the outside looking in, you look at the business nature of the league, and it's kind of the same effect that when you get to college, it's like, okay, well, the recruiting is done, now you're here, and now you have to produce on a whole different level. Now, being a professional athlete, this is your livelihood, this is your career, and yet here you are, pushing on to the next thing. So kind of like similar how I asked you, like, transition between high school and college. What were the first impressions like? Okay, this is going to be different. Like, now you're in Arizona. You are, you're the maybe the outside looking in. I guess your work is cut out for you again. What were your first impressions of what the game was going to be like on this level?
It's so I thought coming into college was hard. Coming into the league, man, it's
Totally
it's a
different.
different story, man. It's
I can only
you're
imagine.
you're battling with grown men who have to feed their families,
Right.
and being a day 3 guy. So like if you're not drafted the first 3 rounds, you got to find a way to make the team. I'm
Yeah.
talking from 4 to 7 and undrafted.
Yeah.
You have to find a way, because they only really need those first 3 guys. I've seen 4th rounders, 5th rounders get cut, and it's crazy. Guys coming in and out the locker room every single day. Like, I
Yeah.
remember my first camp, I had a different locker mate, maybe like 4 or 5 times.
Holy cow.
So it's really crazy. You just have to do any and everything to get noticed. And
Right.
for me, the way I got noticed was I got my first, I would say, NFL sack in preseason against Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
So
I remember that.
kinda,
I remember watching that. I saw that live.
yeah. So for me, that was like, okay, like this guy can actually play, and I ended up having a decent game that game. But those preseason games are everything. But again, man, the physicality, the mental aspect of the game is so much different than college. Like the playbook, man, it's you got to really know that thing, and if you want to succeed, you can be the biggest guy, the strongest guy, fastest guy, but it doesn't
Right.
matter unless you know and master that playbook.
Right. There's a whole extra set of work that now needs to be put in as a professional. Just another level up, but I mean, it sounds like even more dramatic than the college transition for sure.
Oh yeah, and it's again that there's no sympathy when it comes to cutting you. Sometimes you really can't even take it personal, because it turns into a numbers game, and
Right.
sometimes they just need a guy with more experience. Like, there's so much that goes into it.
Sure.
And in high school and college, you get that brotherly feel between your teammates, but
Mm-hmm.
in the NFL, man, because guys are going in and out, and you got guys of all different ages, man. It's really just it's work.
Yeah.
It's work. It's guys coming together to work for a common goal, and that's to win a championship. So feelings have to be put aside. You still enjoy the game, because you're playing it on the biggest stage, but it really it's a job, and you have to fight every single day to keep it. So, man, that was my mindset. I just told myself every single day I'm on that practice field, I'm going to do something to stand out, whether it's causing a fumble, getting a
Yeah.
sack, something to stand out, so my name could just be circulating within the coach's room. And I think that really, the work ethic, fully moved out to Arizona to be around the facility. I
Sure.
train there every single day. But, just like I took it serious my whole life, I'm doing the same here, just to give myself a chance year in, year out.
And I love that, in some ways the universe is rewarding your commitment and like just ruthless. Like I keep saying, the best phrase is just ruthless force of will with success. And now the third year as, a guy that at one point you might be able to say accurately was on the outside looking in, and you have to continue to fight. Like you said, the chat called it out, a great line. Now you're looking at grown men who need to feed their families, and this has turned into a game of, survival with a bunch of incredible people. You mentioned, teammates kind of coming and going, and I'm sure you played with a bunch of. I mean, we know the roster. You are an incredible player playing with a bunch of incredible players. I got to ask though, man, what was it like when JJ Watt came into the position room? Can you share any bit of what it's been like to? I'm sure probably as you're learning and you're a sponge and you always have been. Have you been able to connect with the veteran in any way?
Yeah, he's been my guy since he's gone in Arizona, man. He's just
Awesome.
Instant leader. He's changed the dynamic of the room. Because if you can say we have a fairly young room with a lot of second, third, fourth year guys. So JJ Watt coming and being a 10-year vet, man, he's changed the dynamic. He's really filled that leadership role that we needed. And for me, his first day there, he's my workout partner, and to me that's like the coolest thing in the world. So we've been able to chat it up, and whether it's pass rush or even playing against the run game, and he's been giving me all kinds of pointers that I can't wait to start to use in my game come camp. But he's a selfless guy. Like, he's going to help you be a better person, first and foremost, and a better football player. So it's been just, crazy, because I was in high school when he got into the league, when he was drafted, and, to see, to watch him, be in the league and, have as much success as he's had, man, it's just a surreal moment just playing with him. And, I can't wait to, get after it with him in a couple games coming up. So.
I mean, bro, that's nuts. Yeah, like what a full circle moment to, like you said. I mean, he's such a veteran career. He's one of these guys that I'm sure, especially playing your position that you've always taken a second look at, and now lining up across from him, the product of your own hard work and just forcing this into reality. So now year 3, I mean, you got access to as great a veteran as you possibly can in the room. You said you've put on like 20 pounds. How have you had to adapt your game specifically to the NFL? Like, I'm sure you're not bullying anybody anymore, right? Even such a big and strong man like you. I'm sure you're probably still on the stronger side of the spectrum, even way up there. But I would imagine that a lot has also had to change. Like, as you now are in year 3, what has been the refocus? Is it doubling down on your mobility, foot or hand work, or even less specific things? Where are you really tuning in to improve?
So the thing about the league is everybody's strong, fast, and big.
Right.
So you have to have an edge. And for me, it's technique. I think for everybody, if you ask anybody, you have to really hone in on your technique.
Sure.
This off season, I did exactly that, learning how to play different blocks better, and, working on my hands for pass rush. And again, just learning the game, watching film, looking at backfield sets, and, little keys and tendencies that I can use to help me make plays.
Sure.
That's what it is. It's what you can do for them is how they're going to keep you. If you're a guy who just goes in the game, you don't really do much. You really have no value. So if you can make plays in this league, you're going to play for a very long time. So for me, I've been just studying film and, working on flexibility, because as a D lineman, having all this weight on your body, you have to be able to bend, You have to be able to go on your stance consistently, have a great stance so you can play very well. So, I started up yoga and Pilates this off season and, transformed, everything. I feel great going into the season. Yeah, like you just really have to hone in on the little things. Little things the little things matter. You can't really overlook those things anymore.
It becomes like, it becomes a whole different animal, an intellectual man's game. Like, the smartest guys in any field will be the ones to last. And the same is going to be true in the NFL. I mean, like you said, to provide, a value added proposition whenever you're stepping foot on the field, and better than anybody. But, for the young guns watching, that could mean the best practice rep that the starter will get that day. You know what I mean? Like, it can take value added can take, quite a few different forms, but, consistency and effort are certainly great places to start. And so, I alluded to it probably first thing we got on the phone together. I mean, one of my, favorite, certainly probably my favorite sack to watch myself. You have a career sack stat line in a regular season game, do you not?
Yes, sir. Yes,
you do.
Sir.
And okay, I'm gonna go ahead and flex on your behalf. This is not just we're not catching Peyton Manning standing up straight, turtle guy in the pocket. We are talking. I don't think anyone in the chat would argue with me if I were to say one of the most elusive and statistically difficult to sack quarterbacks of all time in the Seahawks, Russell Wilson. And, as your boy, Dogbe, I had to give it the big intro for you because I know you're not going to flex that hard. But without all the theatrics, you sacked Russell Wilson, bro.
Yes, sir.
This has got to be something that you replay all the time. I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe it would just be me. But if you would be so kind, bro, can you tell us what you remember of maybe like, the game situation, how you wound up in this spot? And as much as you remember about it, I'm sure I'm not the only one who would love to hear.
And Thursday night game, big time game. And, again, I'm really big in my faith, man. And, that's how I really got my career. And, I was just praying and, talking to God of just, having a big breakthrough, been playing this game for a long time. And, I really just wanted to establish myself, just make myself seen. And, God worked his wonders on that day. We had a couple injuries on the D-line, and I was thrown in there at nose.
Right.
And, at the time, I think I was maybe about like 285. And I'm playing nose. And, it was one of those plays where you don't even believe it's going to happen, but it just does. And, that's how a lot of people get their sacks.
Yeah.
And my eyes just opened real wide when I saw Russell about to break the pocket. And I just, I bull rushed, because I think it was like, a little boot action or something like that. I can't remember.
He was just starting to roll. The chat's asking for me to pull up the clip. Keep talking. I'm going to see if I bet I can. I bet I can find a clip pretty quickly. So he just looked like he was about to break contain, and he did not, indeed.
Yeah, so for me, playing nose against Russell, man, you really don't want to pull a move. You don't want to pick a side. You just want to bull the guy back and try to pressure him to come up the middle. And, he fell right in my lap, and I was able to disengage and get a clean hit on Russell. And for me, man, that was just, where I feel like my career, kind of started going in the direction I wanted it to go. Like you said, Russell Wilson is a great quarterback, man, statistically, and he's a very elusive player.
Yeah.
So for me to get a sack, man, the first one in regular season, it was surreal for me, and it was definitely a great highlight in my career.
I mean, holy cow, bro. And it's so, bro, just after, and I know the chat now agrees with me, and, everyone that's watched this and listened to us talk is going to agree, man. It's sweet because you just deserve that, bro. You just deserve that moment. Just like for the sheer power of will from being a sophomore in high school who is reaching out, like nobody does that, bro. Like nobody, there's not really, and there are, and bless these young people because they weren't me, and golly, I wish I had the tendency, but it's really unique and notable, I think, that, you know, to be so motivated and not just motivated, driven really is the better word for it. And to see your vision fulfilled like this, bro. I mean, yeah, I could go on about Michael Dogbe forever, you know, from hometown all through the success of your career, but it comes down more so than anything else to just, you gotta love seeing good people succeed, and that has been really enjoyable. And I gotta tell you that, you know, personally, that I appreciate, you know, what you've brought as far as that, and, you know, the feeling of pride from knowing you and knowing your family, and, you know, coaching your younger brother, bro. You've brought a lot of people a lot of joy, you know what I mean? Like, you've made a lot of people proud of you, but not in the way to say that anyone is taking any credit at all. Proud to, you know you, have been associated with you, you know, to be, you know, in the wake of what you've accomplished for yourself, because it's unique and just fucking dope, bro. I cannot say enough nice things about you. I really can't.
And I appreciate it. And you know, I really, you know, owe a lot of thanks to the people of Parsippany, you know, guys like you know, seeing, you know, the career you took, man. It's, again, I was a young kid coming up to the high school watching you guys play, man. You guys inspired me to be a great football player. And, you know, with all the fans, the families, and the, you know, the people of Parsippany, you know, just the words of encouragement along the ride. You know, I would get little Facebook messages just telling me, you know, to keep it going. You know, all of that plays a huge role in, you know, me, you know, being encouraged, you know, year in, year out to keep this thing going. Because, you know, there's some rainy days in the league where, you know, you just feel like giving up, but to have the support and the love from, you know, my hometown, man, that's special. And, you know, I really just want to dedicate, you know, the way I play and the way I go after things to those people, you know, of Parsippany, man. It's major love coming from my way, you know, to the people of Parsippany.
Man, it's good stuff. Sometimes I think it's even more than some of us deserve out here, but it is a beautiful thing. Dogbe, man, I feel like, you know, I could chat with you for hours, but I am super grateful for the time that you took. I want to be respectful of your Sunday. We just ticked over an hour here, bro. I mean, I knew it was going to be great. Like, I knew it was going to be, you know, just catching up with you as an old friend would be dope. But I really, you know, again, appreciate a success story from someone who wasn't handed a whole heck of a lot of anything. I think the more people see of that, the better. So I'm grateful that, you know, you took the time to share your story in my channel, because it's just a good look to be associated with you, bro. Like, for real. Is there anything, sir, that you would like to leave the chat with? Any last bits to sign off here, and then I could let you get on for the rest of your, looks like a rainy day by me. Hopefully it's nice over there in AZ. Get on for the rest of your Sunday.
Oh, man, it's sunny and hot over here.
Attaboy.
But again, man, I just want to thank you for the opportunity, and, man, whoever's listening, thank you for listening to my story, man. It's important to me, and, you know, I'm just blessed enough to share it, and hopefully, you know, I can inspire anybody, you know, trying to do something important in their lives. But, man, it's great catching up with you, you know, great chatting it up, and, you know, again, you know, we'll talk soon.
Absolutely, man. Hopefully the first time, but hopefully certainly not the last, man. You're also a natural, a great interview. I keep saying that about these, and I'll get some heat from some of my boys, but I can't help but feel like this is certainly one of my favorites. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Michael Dogbe of the Arizona Cardinals, also of my hometown Parsippany Hills Vikings, joined us on episode, what's this, 11, 12 now, of FENDTALKS, man. Dogbe, it was an honor and a pleasure, bro. Enjoy the heck out of your Sunday, man. Big love from me and the congregation, bro. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. Enjoy your Sunday as well, and we'll definitely talk soon.
All health and happiness to you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, man. Peace.
Peace.